Crazy.
And that's how it is, right? Like I said, it's kind of difficult sometimes when you're applying for work, and some of these studios are only willing to consider you if you are a huge gamer yourself. You know, if not, or you don't play as much game. Like the job I had at Trion, I almost did not get that job. Did I tell you that?
Oh no.
I mean, I ended up working there for 10 years, but when I was interviewing, I almost was not gonna get the job.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the ratedg podcast. I'm your host, Terado. If you are tuning in right now, I am assuming that you've watched the first part of this episode with my dear brother Ferd. But if not, if you are new here, welcome to the show. This is a podcast where I sit down with other artists and creators, and we have honest discussions and conversations about art and life in general. So if you enjoy this content, please hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, that way you can keep up with the podcast. Check out the show notes if you'd like to continue to follow myself and my featured guests. But again, if you've not watched the first part, I highly recommend you check that out first. Those who are tuning back in, welcome back and thank you for your continued support. Other than that, please enjoy and welcome back my Kuya Ferd Terado.
I haven't watched any of the latest animated anything because it's just, I don't know. I'm like actively, it's weird. I know, it's like I'm actively avoiding it.
So what's like the last thing you genuinely enjoyed without having to like critique or find any blips, like, you know, without looking for errors or ways of how they did the thing?
Like movies?
Movies or I mean, it's a loaded question, I guess, but I mean, if you want to just focus on movies or like anime.
Oh, last thing I enjoyed without critiquing it, just for the pure enjoyment of doing it. Honestly, martial arts right now. Like I just
martial arts films.
No, just martial art. My martial arts practice.
Okay.
Because you said in general, right?
Okay.
So,
yeah. All right.
In general, yeah. I just like the doing of it, the exercise. I'm not, like there's a misconception with a lot of people that when you train in martial arts, you have to be like, you're doing it so that you can survive in the streets.
Yeah.
Or right, you can take down multiple. I hope that never happens, but I hope that if it does, I have the skills to, survive and handle myself. But that is not why I do martial arts. I do it for my own mental, physical well-being.
Yeah.
Some people do yoga. That's what clears their head. For me, is what clears my head is, going through the movements and doing drills and, of course, there's got to be an element of practicality to what you do too, what I do, how I practice. But that's not the only motivation for me to do martial arts.
Yeah.
Right. And yeah, like you said, I've always been a fan of it since I was little. Right.
Yeah. Like I'm definitely a Bruce Lee fan because of you, and I'm still like I keep falling into that rabbit hole. But like I mean that's why like same here. Like the boxing for me, like I just want to be able to like know I can throw, I can strike, and like
again, you do it for you, right?
Yeah.
You do it for your own reasons, not what people think you should be doing it for.
Right.
So right now that as far as like doing something without really like overthinking it or analyzing or criticizing, I'd say my martial practice is that. I mean, as far as like entertainment, like movies and things like that, there's still movies that I watch where I don't really overthink it. I just watch it, like Christmas Story, right? I just watch it because every fucking year we watched it, right? And like Seinfeld, same thing, right? Seinfeld I don't even really watch. I have it playing in the background and the pictures in my head because I've watched it a million times, over a million times. Like I know exactly what the scenes are without looking at the TV. Yeah. I just need to hear the dialogue and go, yeah, Jordan.
Yeah. That's
fucking Kramer.
That's how we are with Everybody Loves Raymond. Like we either put that or like King of Queens on at night when we go to bed, just because like just now hearing the scenes, like it's just, I don't know. Yeah. I find it comforting. Like I could fall asleep to it, but it's so funny.
So as far as like, media and entertainment, like, that, like, stuff like that, like the Ghost in the Shell anime series. That's another one I can, right? It's animated. That's another one that I can watch without watching.
Right.
Because I watch it a lot of on Cartoon Network when I was still living at home, I think it was. Mm-hmm. Right, watch it on Cartoon Network, and then later I got the DVDs. Right, so now it's like I can watch it whenever I want now. Right? And now it's all digital. Man, I can fucking go on Amazon and watch it on your Amazon channel. But yeah, it's like I can watch it, and obviously it's animated, and I would be like tempted to analyze it and critique it, but I don't.
Yeah.
Because I just enjoy it. Yeah. Oh, okay. I get it. Cyborg humans. Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. All right. Yeah. So yeah, in that respect, yeah, like those things, like I don't. Yeah, you could say I would just watch or listen to them just for pure enjoyment. Like I don't try to go, yeah, animation looks a little off, right? Like no, it's like it is what it is. But then at the same time, right? I know it sounds like I contradict myself or I'm hypocritical. I would watch shit like Cowboy Bebop and go, the anime is much better than this bullshit, right? But they're clearly two different things, really, right? I mean, right? The remake or reimagining, it's a live action reimagining, right? Mm-hmm. So yes, they replicated a lot of stuff from the anime, or maybe even the manga. I don't know, but it's not shit. It's not exact. Yeah, right. It's not exact. It's not really meant to be exact. It's not meant to be a live action copy. My problem with this was the poor casting, the poor pacing. And the poor story delivery. Yeah. And I fucking hated that the actress that played Valentines. She's just unlikable. Yeah. I don't know what it is. She's just unlikable. I know she's some kind of woke feminist, whatever bitch, but sorry for your LGBTQ audience.
I was talking to a friend about this show too.
I hate that shit, man. It's like,
what, the show or the community?
The girl.
Oh no, yeah. I was
the girl that played her.
I felt like she was trying too hard to be like a badass, like a bad bitch.
Yeah, it's just kind of came off again, right? Like, we're not meaning to spoil it for people who haven't seen it, but yeah, like what's with the, it's just like she's just being vulgar for the sake of being vulgar.
Yeah,
like, you guys are dicks. Yeah, like you guys are dicks. You guys are fucking assholes.
Yeah,
it's like. Like I get it, you want to be this like badass girl, but it's like she just sounded so juvenile when she did that with like her lines, like her general. I don't know. I just didn't like her.
Yeah,
I think she might be. Is she Filipina? She has she has a Filipina sounding name.
She's not Filipino. I don't know. She's not that though. I forget.
She's confused. That's the reason why I don't like her. So yeah, I don't know. I'm like, I actually didn't have a problem with what's his name, John Cho playing Spike Spiegel. I mean, he could have worked on his martial arts stuff a little more because Spike was a badass.
Well, I was gonna say, I kind of wish they had. I wish they would have attempted at doing an episode of when he does the Bruce Lee thing.
Right.
Water, because like his in the like in the anime, his movements were very Bruce Lee, like when he fought, and I was hoping there would be some of that in some of the fight sequences, or even just like the speech about being water. Like I was hoping they would have like tried executing that scene, like reinterpret that scene somehow. But I just thought that the influence of Bruce Lee was like a major thing, and I would have thought they would keep that, and they didn't. And I was and I was really hoping for some badass fight scenes, but
I mean, to be honest, the one character they got right was his name Jet.
Yeah.
It's like, he's black. I don't care about the color.
Voice was like on point.
Dude, his voice was spot on, and people were on the internet going apeshit. They made him black. He's not supposed to be. I don't fucking care what color he was. What I cared about was the character. Yeah, how the character was portrayed. This is why I don't like the bitch that played what's her name? Valentine.
Faye Valentine. Yeah.
Faye Valentine, because she was just a bitch. Like Faye was not right? She was mischievous and clearly criminal minded. Yeah. But there was a certain kind of like, right, with all the characters, even with Spike, a certain like swagger or demeanor. Like, they're smooth criminals. That's the best I can describe. They're smooth criminals. Even Faye, she was kind of a smooth criminal on her own. In her own way, but the actress, the way she portrayed her was she's just a bitch, and she was again, I'm probably gonna get flamed for this, but she was a bitch both in and out of the show. She was a bitch on social media. Not wearing that sexist whatever, but
right.
It's like,
not about that.
You were dressed you were scantily dressed in some other show or whatever, and they showed photos of that. And you were very comfortable with that. Like, like the Faye Valentine outfit they were gonna give her was like not even as scantily clad. It's kind of close to what the anime would have been, but not the short stuff.
Yeah.
Like kind of a flimsy article. It's like live action sci-fi style, right?
Yeah.
But it was still sexy, and I guess that's what she was going on and on about, But again, even it's not the outfit that I have a problem with.
It's just the way she executed the role.
It's just her.
Yeah.
As a person. I guess that's how you was raised.
No, I get it. Yeah. No, yeah. Well, with that show, again, I was trying to be more forgiving and just try to enjoy what I can. I genuinely like John Cho as an actor, so I was pretty happy that he got that role. I mean, but
do you do that though too? Like, do you like when you watch stuff? Do you like analyze it for whatever reason?
Yeah, absolutely. I even take it a step further.
I mean, rather like, I guess better way to put it is, do you analyze it and then get turned off or not get interested as much because you found some things that were not, they could have done better or whatever? Kind of like that's my problem.
It has happened. It has happened, but I don't know. I guess it depends, because like I go through this thing where, so if anything's going to be reinterpreted. So like for this show, before it came out, I watched the entire anime series. Just so I can know the differences when I do see the show. And then when I saw it, and not that I was like unhappy with the differences, but I just thought some of the things, maybe because of the budget or whatever, casting, like it definitely fell short. Like at least like the things that I was pretty critical about, and I said it before, is just like the fight sequences. Like I really would have thought they would have had some like they would have hired some like legit like fight sequence, like the guys that do the coordination and all that. Like I would have thought, like I don't know why, but I really had hopes for their fights. And like the special effects people shitted on, but it wasn't too terrible for me.
Yeah, I mean,
I mean, the last time I got turned off because of like my because of like whatever I was watching left a bad taste in my mouth was the Last Airbender. Like after watching, when I saw the intro of that movie, I immediately was like, all right, this is not going to be good.
Dude, I think that's one of the movies where I did an actual face palm. Can you guess when I did that? Well, I'm watching the movie. Can you guess when I did this?
When they said his name?
No. Even that was like I kind of when I heard like it's like what's gang, but okay, whatever.
No. I don't know.
Can you guess? Yeah. The question is, can you guess when I did this?
Because there's so many parts. I can only say when I did that.
I'll tell you where I did this. The scene where the captive airbenders decided to finally fight back.
Oh no, you mean the Earthbenders?
The Earthbenders.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
That scene where there's a bunch of them going, right? They're going.
Oh yeah.
and then you just see this one fucking rock float up. And like, are you fucking serious? A bunch of you. It took a bunch of you to lift that one fucking little rock.
Yeah.
Like in the cartoon, it's like
everything moved. Like everything moved with them.
Yeah, one Earthbender was like formidable.
Yeah.
Because he did like one stomp and the whole earth would move, right? That kind of shit. Like, and you could feel it, the sound, the way it's animated, right? When they did such a great job. I'm such a huge fan of that show, man. Because it was not just a kung fu cartoon, right? It was so much deeper, and they really paid attention to like all those little details, right? Like, not just the posture, but the way they were animated. When a character is about to pull a piece of the earth from the ground, there's the right.
Yeah, it's very
and then
solid.
Chunks of earth fly up and hit you or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And there's a subtle difference when they're lifting, small versus large objects. Like you can feel the effort. And then you watch the fucking Shyamalan Ding Dong movie. Wow!
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah, and like not that race matters, I have to say that. But
that bothered
it rubbed me off the wrong way. When like,
why all the
Asians were
why all the Fire Nation guys all dark skinned, Indians, Middle Eastern looking, and
the ones that were enslaved,
fucking water tribes are all white, right?
And that was weird. That was really weird.
And all the Asian people are right.
The slaves.
Are either miscellaneous or Earthbenders.
Yeah,
that right? Was that just rubbed. And then
I think he just kind of, I think he like M. Night kind of took the whole like nation thing too literally.
Right. Oh yeah.
He was like thinking, okay, if the Fire Nation was India,
because it's hot,
everybody's gonna look Indian
over there.
Yeah.
No, but what I hated too was that the fire bending. They couldn't create the fire. They needed a pre-existing source.
Exactly. Yeah, that's another thing that bothered me. It's like, well, everybody else is having to draw their element from a source, so why shouldn't? And I think that was the whole point of the Fire Nation being so like OP in the show, right? Like because they can generate fire from air, right? They can heat up the air around them and ignite things. That was the whole point. They didn't need like an actual fire to pull the fucking fire out.
Yeah.
Right. Like and they talked about this in the show, right? Yeah. In the cartoon. Like when
they get into how you ignite, how you get the
spark. When Aang was learning how to firebend.
Yeah.
Right? Like he needed a fire source first to light that leaf. And then his that crazy guy that was like teaching him, Jong, whatever his name was, right? His task was for, okay, you need to control how this fire spreads on that leaf. right? Versus like, okay, generate fire from thin air. Like, no, here, I'm gonna light this part of the leaf. Now you keep it from burning the entire leaf and kind of, right, keep it where it is, kind of thing. Controlling fire.
Yeah.
So again, that's another thing that's another thing they missed, or rather that the director missed completely from the show, right? So I can't watch that without getting angry.
Yeah.
Like, if I walk into a room and I see fucking the M. Night Avatar Last Airbender movie playing, I walk into the room, I'm like, I'll just get mad. Yeah. And I'm gonna need to watch the original show to flush it all out, which is what I did after I watched the live action Cowboy Bebop. I had to watch the anime all over.
Yeah, I started doing that too. I went back and I was like, maybe I'll just go.
But see, right? I'm like watching that. I'm like, yeah, see, they should have done that.
Yeah,
that's how it's supposed to be.
Yeah,
right? That part where Spike is in his room and just shadow boxing.
Yeah.
Right. Mostly you just see his hands, right?
Mm-hmm.
He didn't need to fucking be on a Wing Chun dummy. It's like he's not a Wing Chun guy. He's a Jeet Kune Do guy.
Yeah.
I mean, Wing Chun is one of the tools they use to develop, but he's on a fucking spaceship.
Yeah.
With limited cargo space. It's a big ass ship, but it's not a it's not a giant, it's not the Enterprise, right? Yeah, it's a clunky junk starship. So they have small living quarters. They have a little area where like a lobby where they can where they sometimes eat their
definitely. It didn't feel so cooped up because remember how like in the anime they had that like hallway like that's always rotating.
Yeah, that's the gravity generator. Yeah, and that's where he takes his walks, right? Yeah, he didn't go to some platform and just kind of like contemplating while he was walking.
They were always parked somewhere. They were never.
Yeah.
They didn't.
And that's what. Yeah, again, that's one of the things that these creators missed, right? Like on the outside, the ship looks huge because it can house like 2 other smaller ships.
Yeah.
Right, like Spike's red ship and the Valentines bubble ship, whatever it's called. Mm-hmm. Like it fits there and they carry cargo clearly, right? But on the inside, you see it's actually really cramped because it's all machines, right? The engine is right fucking next to you, kind of thing, and it's like, to get from room to room, you got to go to this like kind of tight passage or hallway. But in the movie, they had to make everything a little wider because otherwise the cameras can't fit, right? And it's clearly gonna be like uncomfortable for the actors. But again, that's that whole thing about that. That's right. That's missing. Again, it's. I'm not knocking it for being a remake. It's just it was remade badly.
Yeah.
Right. Like take a movie Dune. The movie Dune. Now I've never read the books. Everybody's always saying you read the book?
Well, I listen to audio.
That's fine, but how these diehard fans, every time you talk about Dune, either the old movie or the new one,
you gotta watch out.
You gotta read the book, man. You should read the book. He's like fuck you. I don't want to read the book. Okay, I'm trying to enjoy the movie. But like that right there, when you watch, I watched the new one.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it.
Okay. I'm glad.
I also watched the original movie. I also watched the original movie, right? I've seen the original movie. I like that
Blu-ray.
too. Yeah, I like that too. As silly as the acting was, like over the top, it's like for some reason it felt right for the movie. Now, granted, right, the first time I saw it on TVs, again back in the day, right, I was still living at home. I was all like, this movie sucks. what's with all the talking to yourself parts? Spice. It's on everything. It's like, why are you whispering to yourself? Who are you talking to? Right?
Oh shit.
Later I realized that's how the director wanted to advance the story, right? Like kind of, and after a time it kind of just grew on me. Like I started to understand why things were shot and done the way they were, right?
Right.
And then you watch the new movie, Timothée Chalamet. There was none of that really, right? Because different time now, right?
Technology advancements.
Technology effects are way better. The acting's obviously different. I don't want to say it's better than or worse than. It's just it's different. It's right for now. If you made this Dune back in the 70s or the late 70s, it probably wouldn't be as well received because people are gonna feel it's too gritty. The scary parts are legit fucking scary. I mean, you see those missiles that fucking split up into multiple missiles and just killed a bunch of dudes. Like back then, those people will be like freaked out by that kind of level of violence, right? You definitely don't want to take your kids to see that kind of film, right? You'd rather take them to go see Star Wars, right? Because even though they're slashing each other with a laser sword,
there's no blood.
There's no blood. You don't actually see the cut happen. You just you see them from behind when they die, right? So they're like, right, you're watching the guy who gets killed, and you see in the back, and you see the lights up go like this. They just go, right? And then that tells you they die. Now it fucking slices through you, and it cauterizes the wound and everything. Right? Right? It's just like I really enjoyed Dune, but I still also really enjoy. I wasn't analyzing it, I just I just recognize that this is a movie for its time. Same thing with this one, and they better up the storytelling and effects, especially now, right? Because you can't remake the old version,
right? Yeah,
they're literal, it's like. You gotta make some changes. I mean, and me personally, I like the changes that they made. I know a lot of people disagree with that, but it's like, again, that goes back to the whole, you like what you like. I mean, it's not perfect, but I mean, I went to see it twice. In the theater.
I thought about seeing it again, and because we watched it here because Nicole never saw it. And she wouldn't sit through the original, but I thought about seeing it in theaters just for the sake of like the impact, because I know with that soundtrack it would have been fucking like amazing with surround and everything, surround sound.
Well, same thing with the Transformers, right? The first Michael Bay one. Like,
oh my God,
I don't know how many
times. 5
times. I don't know how many times I went to go see that. And each time I notice a new detail. I didn't care about Sam Witwicky and his hot girlfriend so much anymore.
Yeah,
I was like,
it was the mechanics
holy shit,
of the
did you see that little? Yeah, I would like watch him like, holy shit, I never noticed that little gear in Barricade's eye.
Yeah,
that was like spinning. And that split second that his face was up close, like weird shit like that. I would like notice,
right.
But I don't go, rewatching the original animated Transformers movie.
Oh, of course not. Because
Michael Bay's is much better. Or that's a weird animation. I mean, it's like, again, it's like I recognize it for what it is. But I guarantee you, if they tried to remake the original Transformers animated movie as a live action Michael Bay style.
Yeah.
I would have a lot to say about it.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I'm gonna notice things I'm not gonna like, because it's because they're trying to remake the original into a modern version and then made their own, have their own creative license or whatever, and it's probably not gonna jive with what I have in my head.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna get the same reaction. What the fuck is bullshit? Not a finger.
How many times did you watch A Christmas Story?
I stopped counting. I don't know.
We
used to just fucking let it play in the background.
Right. So like that was the thing with Nicole. She would like tell her family that I only got to watch it twice this time. It's like an all-time low. Because I used to just play it in the background.
Yeah, I don't even know what made us want to watch that every year. Like it became tradition.
I don't know. And Nicole was saying that in the beginning when we were just dating, I guess. She was like, yeah, like I didn't really like that movie, but it started growing on me.
I still love it.
There's like little gems in there that like it's just so overlooked, and it's just like, I was like trying to explain it to her.
Yeah, I guess you need a certain level of sense of humor.
Yeah, for sure. It's just like all these minute things in that
movie. Nobody's gonna understand why was his name Scott Farkas, his buddy.
I thought it was his little brother.
The little guy.
I guess this is his sidekick, right?
Yeah, the sidekick guy, right? Like nobody will understand why I find the sidekick funnier than Scott Farkas. Because they'll be like, "Why? He's just a sidekick." You're like, "Yeah, he's a mean kid. He's a bully, just like Scott Farkas was, right?" And in my head, like, no, what makes him funnier to me is he's wearing like adult clothes.
Yeah, and he's got the hat.
A tiny body. The hat, the jacket. Like that's an adult style jacket. Yeah. I mean, it's not adult size, but it's right. Like like look at the whole.
Dad would wear that.
Yeah, no kid's wearing that style of jacket, but he is. And the hat, and that makes it funny. Right? Again, it's like Seinfeld, right? Is that funny? I think it's funny. Is that funny?
The perfect example is when the delivery, when they deliver the lamp, and then he's like, "What's in it?" He's like, "Oh, I don't know." He's like, "Oh, what's inside?" He's like, I was like, "Yes."
Like, dude, I don't fucking know. I'm just delivering it.
Oh shit! Did you see the new Christmas movie that's supposed to be like the modern version of that? It's the 8-bit Christmas. Is it called 8-bit Christmas?
Based on Christmas Story?
Well, it's not. It's like a modern version of it. It's Neil Patrick Harris, and he tells his daughter how like his struggle on trying to get the Nintendo system. So it's kind of like
no, I haven't.
I mean, it's cute. Like you watch it and you'll see all the you would see all the similarities from A Christmas Story and even like a Christmas Vacation. Like it has all those elements in this movie. It's just
I think the latest or the most latest Christmas movie I've watched beyond Christmas Story is Jingle All the Way.
Yes, I was gonna say that is like the most underrated Christmas movie. Like everyone loves Elf, and I agree it's funny. But I'm like, what about Jingle All the Way, man? You got Sinbad and Arnie. Like, put the cookie down. No,
and they actually turned out to be, they ended up portraying the hero and villain that the action figures were. I thought that was clever and funny. So, but that's the last Christmas movie, new Christmas movie I've really seen or been interested. I mean, there's an animated one called Klaus. It's on Netflix. I keep
hearing about that one.
It's supposed to be really good, but again, it's this weird thing, it's like because it's animation, and I've heard a lot of great things about it. Yeah. I like animation. It sounds like it's a really good animated movie, but I actively avoided it because I don't want to look at another animation. Because on Monday, I got to go back and animate shit. Yeah. I'm just looking over here because my desk is right here. It's like there's my workstation right there.
No, I believe that.
At some point, I will watch it. I mean, there's a kind of there's a show called Arcane.
Yeah. I started watching it, but I didn't get.
I've seen the trailers. Yeah, it's made by what's that studio that does that RTS game? Riot. Riot. I tried to get a job there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I applied there so many times, and it's one of those studios where if you're not an active fan and player of their games, they won't even consider you.
Shit.
So I basically went, fuck you then, I'm gonna go work somewhere else.
Wow. That's crazy.
And that's how it is, right? Like I said, it's kind of difficult sometimes when you're applying for work, and some of these studios are only willing to consider you if you are a huge gamer yourself.
Mm.
You know, if not, or you don't play as much game. Like the job I had at Trion, I almost did not get that job. Did I tell you that?
Oh no.
I mean, I ended up working there for 10 years, but when I was interviewing, I almost was not gonna get the job because I don't play MMOs. I don't play MMO games, MMORPG games like World of Warcraft or Warhammer or whatever.
Right.
Like I don't play those games, and that's the game they were working on. And that's the game, and that was the job I'm applying for. They're like, "Do you play MMOs?" I'm like, "Well, I kind of played WoW for a bit."
Did you really?
I did, but it didn't last because it's such a grind.
Yeah.
Oh fuck! I gotta go to this place just to get that one fucking thing. Oh, in order to do this quest, I gotta team up with people. I've always been kind of a lone wolf. I operate alone most of the time, but most of these things you can't achieve alone. You need a team, right? You need a healer, a mage, some right. I always play like a tank because big heavy swords, and I get my ass tore up, when I go somewhere, and I'm not at the level where I'm supposed to be there yet, right? So eventually, I give up. But when I was interviewing, I told them, not really. I played a little bit, but stupid me went, MMO is not really my thing. And here I am applying for a job where the main job is to animate for an MMO.
Oh shit!
And so, what kind of games do you like to play? Oh yeah, fighting games like Mortal Kombat, right? Shooters like Call of Duty and Battlefield. And then I mentioned a Hideo Kojima game, Metal Gear Solid, and it turned out like 4 of the 5 animators interviewing me were all Metal Gear Solid fans. So I said, I play. I'm a huge fan of Metal Gear Solid. I play that quite a bit. They're like, I got the very audible right? Yeah. But the project director who was sitting in the in the meeting was fixated on the fact that I don't play games as much, or more importantly, I don't play MMOs.
Oh God!
So he was if it was left up to him, I probably would not have gotten the job.
Oh goddamn!
Like he was actually gearing to make it more difficult for me to get hired.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Like at the end, he was like, "So what are you gonna do if you don't get this job?" Like he straight up asked me that, and I'm like, "What am I supposed to say? I'm gonna go home and cry?" No, I'm like, like, well, what are you gonna do if you don't get this job? I'm like, I'm gonna keep looking for another job. Yeah. I mean, what else am I gonna do? What else do you think I'm gonna do? You think I'm gonna go back to my hotel and slit my wrist? Because I didn't get this job. But some of these places, that's the attitude. The only reason I got hired there is because of those 5 guys.
Yeah. Damn.
Because I happened to say I like Metal Gear Solid. I mean, they obviously like my work, but I guess there's this one thing that we're all having in common besides animation and games. Was this one game?
Yeah.
and they really wanted me. Like they told me like out of the candidates they were interviewing, and a lot of them were local, so they don't have to like pay for relocation or anything. They're there. They're clearly talented, but they wanted to go with me because it seemed like I'm a little bit outside the box. So they felt I could bring something fresh to the team. Again, the project director kind of wasn't thinking that way, right? So he's like, well, I don't really play games, and they were telling me like that guy wanted to give me an animation test, and the other animators were like, what the fuck for? We already flew him out here. It's like, we flew him from Chicago to the Bay to interview, and everything. And it's like, he's going to go home and what, you're going to make him do an animation test now? It's like, if we were going to do that, we should have done that before we flew him out.
Yeah.
Right? Like the whole point of flying you out to meet the team is basically get to know you.
Yeah.
See what you're about. Before that, it's like, okay, right? They already determined after reading your resume, if they read your resume and watching your reel, that, okay, this is a good candidate.
I was going to say, isn't that the whole point of having a demo reel so they can see work?
Yeah, but it turned out it's more than that. It's a cultural thing. Like this whole thing about studio culture. Again, it's kind of tricky for me because I'm a bit of a lone wolf, right?
Yeah.
Like I'll play, I'll join your pack, but I'm often kind of going off on my own, right? I'm a wolf pack of one.
wait, where's that from? I'm a one-man wolf pack.
Yeah, I'm a wolf pack of one. It's the whole studio culture thing. So if you don't jive with them, like you don't have the same interest as them, you probably won't get a job there. Damn. Right? Again, there's some exceptions. There are some people they're so talented that they just, some students are like, fuck it, this person doesn't have to socialize with us. He's fucking amazing. He or she is fucking amazing. Let's get him in anyway. Yeah. And they're just kind of left alone to do the work, right? But for the most part, everybody else is like, wow, you gotta socialize with your team members, right? You have to be willing to, you have to be kind of like have the same interests, watch the same movies, whatever, play same games, right? And a lot of them do, and I'm just like none of that. So I'm completely relying on my talent and my experience alone. Because I tell you, man, whenever I go to a new studio, we gotta do these like introductions. Mm-hmm. I always hate that part because I know I'm gonna say something that they're not necessarily like, but they're gonna be like surprised and also, realize that I'm not into the same shit as they are. Yeah. But so I learned to like say less, but maintain kind of upbeat demeanor. Yeah. Like I don't want to, not like I don't want to be here kind of attitude, but like, yeah, I'm gonna just tell you enough info about myself, but not too much information. Mm. But yeah, I interviewed at a studio. Here's an example, right? I interviewed at a studio in Maryland a couple of years ago. And, it was going good. When I was meeting with the artists, yeah, things are pretty much, it looks like we're all on the same wavelength, We're like joking and, the interview was very like conversational. Like you felt comfortable. You felt relaxed. Yeah. And then the two fucking art directors show up. I think that like they've been at the studio like forever. Mm. like forever since the studio was first started. They've always been there, right? And these two guys, well, this one particular art director just came with this kind of attitude, and I didn't understand like why, like what's that about, like, right? And I'm like, okay, I get it. We're still interviewing. We're not friends, right? I'm trying to get this job, so immediately in my head, I switched. But then I said something because I was trying to be polite, right? I said, what did I say? I said, I said something like, I like your studio, because, I'm looking around and I like the design, the interior design and everything, the glass wall and all that stuff. So I was just kind of like admiring it.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, so they came in, they're like, yeah, welcome, thanks for coming out here to meet with us. I'm like, oh no, thank you for bringing me out. And I said, I really like your studio, I like the design of it, And there's one dude, I shit you not, he does this. Oh yeah, what do you like about it? Like the whole room turned to ice suddenly, and I'm like, what do you mean? It's like, well, have you been to the rest of the studio? Because how would you know what you like about the studio if you've never been around the studio? And yeah, in my head, I'm like, okay, fair point. I've only been through the lobby and then this first room. I'm just trying to be nice, asshole. Right? You want to go fight? Like in my head, that's what's going on. I was ready to fight him outside, and this is a guy I'm supposed to be like working with, if I get hired here. But yeah, it's like, I think they actually made me an offer, and I ended up declining because I'm like, I am not working with that guy. Yeah, I will fucking murder him. Probably like halfway through my first year, I'm gonna murder this guy because there's again, some of these places, like they just have like people with really immature attitude. They're older than you. They've been doing this longer than you, but it's like they never left that juvenile stage of their life. They're grayer, they're balder. They've had like a dozen games under their belt, but they still act like this, this prick from high school. Yeah. Or they're power tripping, right? Like maybe in high school they were picked on a lot. Oh yeah. They were bullied. So now they're like taking it out on the new recruits or whatever, right?
They've watched Revenge of the Nerds.
Yeah, and they got all empowered and shit. Yeah. But yeah, it's like and again, it's kind of another one of those things about this industry that it's like unpleasant, like some of these places know that you need a job, you're looking for a job, and they're gonna try to intimidate you, or they are, they're trying to find a younger, equally talented, less experienced artist that they can exploit. That's kind of some of the dark side stuff about this industry, unfortunately. But yeah, you gotta, unfortunately, if you want to be in this industry, you have to deal with that stuff. Recently, Blizzard, Blizzard.
Yeah, I remember that.
They had a huge controversy about toxic workplace, which I didn't know about because I don't work there. I only found out about it during the Call of Duty project because our client is Activision, so we're plugged into their mailing server and list. So naturally, I'm now getting email from freaking Activision corporate, and that's how I found out about that whole thing about Blizzard. And in my head, I'm like, that shit's still happening. It's like, you guys create some of the best games in the industry in the world, and you employ these immature people to be, to bully their subordinates, to a lot of reports of sexual harassment, mistreating female, mistreating their female coworkers that end up quitting because of that shit. And in my head, I'm just like, really? And people are killing themselves to try to work there, and this is how you treat people? Like, no, you know? So yeah, I'm kind of, I think I'm done with all that trying to please people shit. You know, I'll keep working in the industry as long as it's people I vibe, and they vibe with me. It's like, you don't have to like everything I do, but, if you think I can be on a professional level, I can be of a benefit to your team and project, then great. Like, we don't have to like each other, Again, this is 48-year-old me talking.
Yeah.
Ask 25-year-old me, being like, I'll do what it takes, I'll pull my pants down to my ankles and bend over. That's what it takes for me to work on WoW, experience will teach you that, you can only compromise so much before you start to really like lose your integrity doing this. So yeah, again, going back to the whole, like, the magic disappears after you start doing this for a living. It's really true, and in more ways than I anticipated. That's why I'm saying. I was telling you before, right? Like, hey man, I'm proud of what you're doing, and you're enjoying that stuff, and I know you're probably, like, in the back of your head, you're thinking, or maybe wishing you were working in the industry somewhere, doing something similar as I'm doing, and I'm basically like saying, you're not missing anything, man. It's like, I think if you're, whatever you're doing, if you're enjoying that more, stick with that, because I've told people, like, if I find a different line of work or different way of making income, I would quit this job and do that so that I can go back to just animating for myself.
Yeah, for pleasure.
On paper. On paper. Yeah, something I would actually, like, maybe it'll rekindle my enjoyment out of, actually creating art.
Yeah.
And who knows what else I'll create, right?
Right.
Again,
well, that's what I'm saying. When you told me you haven't drawn in years, I was like, holy shit, because I said this. I've said this a couple of times on the podcast previously. I'm like, it's just wild when, like, like your inspiration, your hero, the guy that kind of like played a major part in where you're at. It's like to hear him say like that he hasn't drawn. I was like, it was mind blowing. Cause I'm like, oh shit, what? That's like, it was crazy. But again, like, knowing what I know now, it's totally understandable how things could, how it could be that way. And, to kind of bring this home too, because like, this is crazy. We're already like 3 hours. I do want to bring this home and say, like, I do remember when you said that, and that meant a lot, because even though it was never intent, like you never made me feel this way, but I just always felt like I had to somehow get some sort of like validation or like recognition, because like for like the longest time, and I told Dad this once when he was like yelling at me for something, I was like, I remember saying, I was like,
probably for not taking the garbage out.
Well, like I said to him, like, I'm not Kuya, because So like for the longest time, I just like felt like I was like in your shadow, because trying to accomplish something with like my art skills.
I'm sorry, man.
Well, no, I mean, it wasn't like that's just me. That's just how I took it, and like I don't know. I think there's just like more deep seated shit from like childhood, but. Like I just always felt like, I don't know, just to hear that, because like, I don't know, like I just tried, I tried to be as good as I am, even though like all artists are like this, like we don't think we're that great, but to like hear that come from you, who like got me started here, it's just like, it's nice. It's just, it felt good. It did like take some weight off, because I don't know, again, like I never had to, but I just always felt like I was, at some point, I always had this hope of like, oh, like
just to hear like my brother or see my brother like one of my drawings or like say this is really good or like say like, oh, this is pretty, like, the likeness is like,
dude, I still have the Ninja Turtles pictures you drew for me.
Which one was that? Which one was that one?
It was I think it was Michelangelo. I think it was like a colored pencil.
Oh, right. Yeah. Oh wow. Yeah. That's.
No, I say,
that's old.
Yeah, I know it sounds kind of vague because I didn't frame it. You know why I didn't frame it? I have it preserved in a binder so that it's flat and unwrinkled and undamaged. It's in my closet in this bin, sandwiched between heavy books.
Oh wow.
That's how protective I am about that picture.
I appreciate that because then
if I hang it on a frame and it's getting exposed to light, it's going to
sun damage.
affect the colors.
Yeah.
So 10,000 years from now, when they excavate this area and they found this picture, it'll be like it should be the way you still drew it, right?
Well, I appreciate that. A real artist would understand that too. The damage that sun could cause when you have. That's why people have like certain glass, the sun protective glass.
And I think I got that from mom and dad, right? It's like mom, right? You buy her flowers and it's been weeks and it's dead.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Mom, throw that away. It's already dead. Like, no, you gave that to me. I don't want to. Like, I'll get you more flowers. Yeah. Same thing with Dad, right? I bought the first time I bought Dad a whiskey.
No, oh my God, yeah.
And it was like years later. He hasn't opened it yet. And I'm like, did you drink that? He's like, no, that was your gift, right? I was like, yeah, you're supposed to drink that. He's like, nah, I don't want to drink it. The bottle is so nice. The box that the bottle was in was so nice. He didn't want to damage it. I'm like, it's cardboard, Dad. And I think we finally did open it. And I had like my first whiskey with Dad back then. I'm like, it's like you're supposed to keep it. Yeah. I mean, you could keep whiskey for a while, but it's like, it was a gift, right? You're supposed. I gave it to you to drink, not to just be like, oh yeah, it's my son's gift. I mean, I get it. I appreciate
the sentimental value is no joke.
Yeah,
in the house.
It turns out I'm the same way. So I do that with your picture. I had students who bought me as a gift, bought me a knife, and they're like cheap knives, like something you'd buy at a truck stop, and it's in a box. Like I never used it. I opened it just to like look at it. But and I was telling him, the one that gave it to me, he's like, "Oh, you still have that?" I'm like, "Of course I still have it. It's a gift." It's like, "Yeah, dude, but I bought that at a Shell station when I was driving down in wherever, some kind of like weird, one of those gas stations with a supermarket inside, and there's a lot of like souvenirs and shit, and it's one of those like knives that are like at the counter, so." You're buying some beef jerky and you decide, oh, that's a cool looking knife. You buy that. I'm like, it's not. I said it's not because it's a cheap knife. I said it's a gift from you. That's what I'm cherishing. That's why I keep it. That's why it's still mint in the box.
Yeah.
All right. It's not. That's why I'm not carrying it. And then ending up scratching it up or losing it and not. Oh, it's a cheap knife anyway. Like, no, to me, it's like the value is not the material. It's the thought that the fact that you thought about getting me that randomly. Right. It's not even my birthday or it's not Christmas. You just say, hey, I was on this trip and I saw this. I thought of you. There it is, So I'm the same way with your Michelangelo picture. It's like, right, it came in this cheap manila right envelope. I pull it out, I'm like, wow, cool. Put it back there. Fernando bin. My first thought was like to put it back in the bin to preserve it, not to oh man, I gotta go to the store and get a frame so I can hang this shit and show it off. It's like I'm not showing it off. I'll show it to people, like, yeah, my bro did this, but it's like,
yeah,
it's gotta be like that's treasure, man. I'm keeping that.
Well, that's why I have some of your old work too. It's just like I have that X-Men picture that you did, and the black mark, all the colors.
Oh, it's fading.
Faded, but for me, the value is just because I grew up on that with you, and you inspired that. So
I think that's the first time I got high from fucking marker fumes.
Yeah, because
you want to be an artist.
It was all marker. I should have pulled it out previously to have it ready, but yeah, but that's why I keep like your old stuff, like your books. I think
I submitted that to the art school to be considered as a student, and the administrator of Kubert School was basically like, meh. In my head, I'm like, motherfucker.
Oh my God.
And several dates making that.
I think I'm not sure. I would have to
he was like meh, because I basically just copied Jim Lee's cover, right? And then I think in the interview he was asking me, where did I get this idea, or who's my biggest influence as a comic book artist. And I collected comic books and read comic books, but I didn't really pay attention to the artist as much.
Yeah.
Until Jim Lee.
Right. I was gonna say
he reinvented the whole X-Men look. Right. That's why and I think that's what got me started to collecting those comic books. They had this whole series of the limited series of the comic books with the fold out cover.
Yeah.
And they sold like separate, the same issue, like multiple versions of that issue with a different cover. And then the one that you have still of mine is the one that has the entire series of multiple covers as a extended folded out picture, which is fucking cool.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what inspired me really to get into comic book art. But apparently that administrator and most people in the Kubert School are they all thought that Jim Lee was mediocre.
Shit.
Right? They're influenced by other artists, and fucking I don't even know their name, who they are, and I can't remember their names. And they like them for very specific reasons. The shadow work of this guy, or the cross hatching of that guy.
Right.
And then things like, I like the way this guy inks this artist's work, or like the way this guy pencils. And it's, to me, it's just like, hey, does it look cool? And I don't really care. But yeah, I mean, to some extent, I paid attention to the artist. But yeah, I was a Jim Lee and McFarlane guy, right? But they didn't really, recognize them as I don't know, superstars, I guess. And yeah, that's the general attitude I got. You just basically copied a comic book cover for, But then again, right, at the time when I was doing that, I was doing it for me, right? I was just, hey, I like it. I like, who's this Wolverine character? I like Wolverine. Right? So I was just drawing. I was just drawing what I liked. But of course, I didn't have much to show for a portfolio. So naturally, I submitted that. Plus a couple other things. And yeah, in general, they're not very impressive. Right? But I got in. Got in anyway. Because let's be honest, they needed my money. They can act all aloof, right? Well, it takes a certain caliber of artists to be in this institution. I'm like, it's a fucking rundown elementary school. What are you talking about, institution, right?
Yeah.
And we're talking about work. The same attitude is in a lot of studios. Right? Oh, why should we hire you? I mean, as you can see, we have a history of AAA games, and now you want to be part of our elite artist team, blah blah. Right now, I'm more like, well, why should I work for you? Because I mean, I can get a job elsewhere. I don't have to work here. I just I happen to like your current project, and I need a job, right? So the whole attitude of like I have to prove myself, like the motherfucker, I've been doing this for 20 years.
Yeah.
I have the portfolio that shows it. So it's at this point I'm like no longer this trying to please just to get in, attitude. Again, the veteran attitude is different than the noob, right? The noob go getter. I gotta get in there. I just love the art. It's one of the things we argued about in school too. I remember, like, we had this one guy who's a super Disney fan, but I hate to say this, he really sucked as an artist. Like, he can't draw for shit, but he had these very lofty dreams of one day becoming an animator at Disney. It never happened. And I found out years later from other people, like, Chuck is still working at Burger King. It's unfortunate, but it's like, there's like, I get it if you're like a fan of that particular style, but you gotta work at it to achieve that. And then let's not forget, like, you got student loans to pay, so you got to get a job somehow and pay your rent, pay your student loans. And if it's not in the art field, it'll be something else. So you try to get something within the art field. So I guess that's the part of the pragmatic part of that stuck with me. It's like, well, eventually, I'd love to work at DreamWorks. In the meantime, I'm gonna do all these shit jobs. Right? Build my portfolio up, build my experience, and then hopefully one day I'll get to work there. And then it got to a point where, like, I don't have to work at DreamWorks. I can go work in games. Right? Right? And it just kind of evolved, right? When I go into games, like, I want to work for this studio and that studio. They worked on this particular game. I want to work. And then until I like, well, I don't have to work on those games. It's like, I can work on this one. It's similar. It looks fun. They pay well. Okay, I'm going to do that. Right? Yeah. So, again, it depends, I guess, on the person. So,
right. Well, I think it's because, I mean, I don't know. I'm just speculating, but I think now, being in the industry for this long, like, it's definitely easier for you to be able to pass, because you've kind of like experienced that thrill of like, you get to work on this game or whatever. Like, you've gotten to do that plenty of times now, where it's like it's easier to pass.
It gets old too.
Yeah.
Like, I hate to say it, but as you get older, you do want to slow down.
Yeah.
It's too exhausting to keep chasing after things. You're rather like, what's the word? I'm trying to think of a good analogy. Think of being like a hunter, right? A hunter may chase after prey. Oh, there it is. There's the deer. So you start running in that direction, hopefully to, run in a way that the deer doesn't notice that you're coming after it, right? In the beginning, you might be that kind of hunter. After you've hunted for a while, you start to kind of recognize patterns of your intended prey, where they're going to be at during what season, and you just start to kind of anticipate. So rather than run after them, you're going to camp a day before. You're going to walk to the, right? You're going to walk to the place where to your hunting ground. You're going to walk there or even drive there and then get your stuff, versus like camping out somewhere. Oh, there's spray. You shoot it and then you run after it. Like, no, it's like, if you hit it, you walk towards it. You don't run after it, it's like, there's this whole thing about slowing down and still achieving your objective versus like constantly chasing after it. Because as a freelancer, that's what you're doing. You're always chasing the next job. And it gets exhausting. Now, again, I have friends who've been doing it forever and still doing that. Right? More power to them. Like, I think me, it's like, I don't want to keep doing that.
Yeah, it works for some people, but I don't have enough under my belt to like say, but just from some of the experience I've had or the little experience that I had, it just, I don't know. I like looking back, like I was definitely happier without the gig because people would always think, oh, you're an artist. Like, why don't you do graphic design? I'm like,
why don't you do that?
Like, I've done some of that and it's not that great. And, I just think people assume you're an artist and you work for some company that you'll still have the same amount of creative freedom as if you're just a solo. It's like, no, like and that's been my problem too with like some of the last like graphic design type of jobs I had. They paid great, but I was like miserable and I wasn't like all about the aesthetic too. Like
I've been there.
If they look at my portfolio, they're gonna be like, oh, this like we just do whatever. Like, we make the stickers. Like when I worked for Martha Stewart for a little bit. And like I didn't even get to really design too much, and just it was just all this shit that like with corporate I didn't like it. So I'm like, all right, I think I just want to try to like be my own thing.
No, I hear you. I went through the same exact thing when I was freelancing, especially. You got all these corporate types who wish they were artists, and they're the ones telling you how to do your job. When clearly you're the one who's experienced and have the talent to do the job, but you gotta do it according to the way they say. Like I can't tell you how many times I freelanced at a studio for a commercial job, and the fucking producer is literally sitting right behind me, just texting, but they're supervising me. And then like every few minutes or so, they're like, how's it going? It's did you fix that? I like, in my head, like, get the fuck off me, man. Like, leave me alone. Let me do the work. Like, they would literally camp behind my chair and just they'll get on their phone and talk and try to sound all important, and then they'll like, wait, hang on a second. Hey, Ferd, can you tilt that head a little this way? And then I just do it for the whatever, just get them off. I like, yeah, cool, man. Okay, cool. Yeah, so what else was saying?
That was my last job. That's exactly what I sit through. And I have performance anxiety, so like it just made the whole thing worse for me.
And that's the thing, if you're like even a tiny bit unpleasant, the chances are you're not gonna work there anymore. Yeah. They don't call you back, because you showed a little attitude. And that's the thing. It's like, fuck, I can't live like this. I can't work like this. Where, you're basically somebody's bitch.
Yeah. I just imagine like it wears out your mentality. I mean, it's
you lose your integrity too.
Yeah.
Again, some people could be watching this who with similar experience and think, I'm going about this all wrong. It's like, well, that's my experience. And that's how
exactly.
Everyone's experience is different. I don't know how you dealt with your experience and where you're at, right?
Yeah.
Again, as a person, I'm just very different than you. So under the same circumstance, you probably would have handled it a lot differently. But I'm not you. You're not me.
Exactly.
Right? Just like you're not me. So dad's telling you, be like your Kuya, and you're like, I'm not Kuya. Yeah, that's the absolute correct response. Because I had the same response when he's like, well, so and so, he did the RM program and now he has a full-time job, and I'm like, I'm not that guy.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not him. I don't want to be like him. I could give a shit.
Yeah.
Who that guy is. That's not where my interest lies, but yeah, for a time, right? I compromised, I did nursing, and I flunked, and I decided I am never going back. I'm gonna go pursue my art, my dream as an artist, and go to art school and direct all my energy to that. Right. So yeah, like you, I had this pressure of proving myself.
Yeah.
You know, and
that never implied that. I took that myself. So
I mean, with me, it's different, right? Again, I was the eldest. I'm supposed to be you guys' role model, you know.
But because I knew I was the youngest being sent out for school for animation, it's what Kuya did. So I felt that pressure, and I formulated that on myself, and I told Dad, I'm like, look, I'm not like Kuya. I can't, you know. So, but he never.
Well, there's the whole question of, do you even desire that? Is that what you want, right? And I've come to learn that that's a major factor in just about everything.
Oh yeah, there's levels to it.
Is that what you really want for yourself? I mean, it's a asking it as an honest question, not like trying to discourage or demean the person, right? Yeah. Is that what you want to do? I mean, no. Yeah. You don't even like painting, right? Like shit like that. So it's like, if your answer is like, well, I could learn how to paint, I could learn to like how to paint. Yeah. But again, right? There's the whole, there's saying it and then doing it. So, my main pressure was to prove to Mom and Dad, right, that I can make something after spending all this money to go to art school.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, the fact that I got a part-time job as an animator / storyboard artist at Hypnotics, right, which is like 30 minutes away from school and where we live, where our house was. To me, that's like, oh shit, bragging rights. I'm getting bragging rights. I'm still in school. I already got a job as an artist. You see, I can do this, right? Like, turned out that studio's fucking disaster. It's one of the worst places you can work, but hey, it's the first job, right? Yeah. And then I got other jobs after that. So I'm already like right at the time. I'm like, yeah, I'm on my way to prove that I can make something of myself doing this. Where, right? Parents are not exactly sure what's gonna how it's gonna turn out. But I was confident now that I can do this, and then ran into a lot of ups and downs and roadblocks and you name it, right? Struggles, but nobody really wants to hear your struggles, right? Yeah. They just want to hear the successes. Right. So, it's probably not until like something like this where you get to actually talk about, like, yeah, man, that was a fucking shit experience, but you had to go through it to appreciate what you have later, right?
Absolutely.
So that's what I'm saying. It's like, that's what I'm saying. It's like, it's like, it's like, yeah, you went to art school, you're not working in the industry, or you felt like you had to validate. Yeah, I went through that myself, but I guess I'm repeating again that you don't have to do that. Because that's not where your desire lies. That's not where you want. That's not where you want to be. Right? I mean, you don't go somewhere you don't want to be.
Exactly.
Right? Or you don't do things that doesn't interest you. There are things that you do that doesn't interest you, but you do it out of necessity. But then, right, the first chance you get, you're out of there. You do something else, right? So I don't buy into the whole, whatever advice we were given. Oh, you got to do it this way, you got to do that. Like, no, there's more. There's more ways. There are more ways to do a thing. It doesn't always have to be this way. It has to be that way, right? Like, and I guess part of me is kind of thinking like that already, even back in art school. Like I said, there are guys that were, I got to get a job at Disney. I got to be this superstar animator in Disney, like Glenn Keane or, whoever. And then you got a guy that's like, oh man, I hope I get a job as a storyboard artist in the Batman animated series because I really love Batman and everything I want to work on. It's got to be Batman, everything 24/7, 365 days a week, right? Batman, everything. Right? I had a student like that actually. There's this girl that's like everything she did was Batman, and I'm like, that everything out there is about Batman. How are you gonna get a job, right? And she didn't care. And she flunked. I flunked her. It just happened magically. I flunked her because she wouldn't, she wouldn't do her assignments. They're always late. She was had some weird excuse why she couldn't do it. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, bitch, I went to school here too, and I had it more difficult than you did. Shit. You get to draw Batman shit all day. I have to draw in a variety of different styles.
Oh my god.
But the school is actually allowing you to pursue what you like, right? But yeah, I flunked her. And I was so disappointed. Later, I find out that the girl's parents paid, I don't know, they paid money to the school to allow her to pass my class so she can graduate.
Oh shit!
I just lost my faith in the whole system. That whole school. Kubert, fuck you, Kubert. You compromise your integrity.
Oh shit!
And you let loose somebody with no talent and no motivation, no drive, no inspiration to get out in the field and it was just I was so upset about that. Because that showed to me that the school didn't really respect what I had to offer, what I had to teach these students, apparently all it takes is to just pay a little extra money under the table. Not under the table, but they actually what the other students was telling me, like the girl came back with her parents and they were in the office and apparently some money exchange happened and her grade was miraculously changed from a C- to a B or B-. Oh no, sorry, C- to either a C or C+ or some shit. Because at the Kubert School, a C- grade is a failure.
Oh, okay, damn.
So I guess they elevated her grade just enough so she can pass. And I was pretty livid. Actually, I was, what do you call it? I think it was Tony who told me this. Tony and one of the other students. Yes, Tony told me, but he was teaching there. So I'm like, well, it's not the end of the year yet. He took my place after I left and I got the job at EA. So, right, I'm moving to Chicago. But there's this one other student who, by the way, I had this one student I'd say is my success story because he's somebody, his name is Eric. He now works at NetherRealm. He's been working on the Mortal Kombat stuff.
Oh shit.
And Injustice.
Okay.
So those games. And it's amazing because again, this is a kid who went to that school, wanted to become a traditional animator, had no idea computer animation really exists or can be taught until I showed up. I showed up with my fancy Dell laptop with Maya on it. And I started showing the whole class, like, yeah, you can apply your animation principles in computer, blah, blah, blah. And I said, you can play on the computer if you like, if you just want to, right? And this one student was the only one that expressed interest in it. And now look at where he is. Damn. He's a fucking lead animator at a game studio, right? The rest, I don't know what happened to the rest.
Doesn't matter. You got that one, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, I got that one. Yeah, I got the one. He's like, this one student that actually like kind of took me seriously. The rest was just kind of, I just want to get through the year. I just, And I think he's one of those like, oh yeah, remember so and so? She actually graduated. I'm like, what? Like, how the fuck did that happen? You know, it was like, cause they her and her parents paid money and they changed her grade from the grade you gave her, the failing grade you gave her, to something to allow her to graduate. I'm like,
son of a bitch.
Yeah. And then I went,
oh shit.
Yeah, there's a lot of horror stories with that art school.
No.
I'm sure you have a bunch of those too.
Some, I don't know if I remember a lot of them though, because college was kind of a blur. It was a bit of a blur, but we're almost four hours in.
Oh shit!
What
happened when you're just talking shit?
I know. Well, I wasn't sure what to anticipate because I had notes, and obviously I wanted you to. I wanted you on.
Yeah, did we go off the rails completely? Or?
Yeah, but I like those personally. I like those, and I've talked to some friends who have tuned in, and they like it when it feels natural, But we did like. I'm not saying that we didn't hit the points I wanted to talk about. Like we did, but it was just like I knew it was going to be hard to not like go off on like memories and like talk about our childhood. It's just like I don't know. I think this came out a lot better than I was kind of nervous because like again, like you're my hero, you're my oldest brother. For people listening,
that shit.
They're like, why you call him Kuya? That means brother. It's a.
Well, what's is there anything on there that we kind of didn't address or touch on? Before
there's a couple, but it's more like personal stuff. Like, well, I'll tell you this, Kuya. I'm definitely gonna have you come back, obviously, when you have like free time. But I mean, some of the stuff was just more internal stuff, more stuff that like some of the stuff, like just like, finding the scheduling and time management because like you do all these things. Like we barely scratch the surface with the martial arts part. Like that could be like a whole other thing, but like,
that'll be a whole other
that and just like the content creating because like you're doing the stuff that I'm trying to do. So I'm just trying to see your approach with the time structure because you have a job, you do train, like you teach these martial arts classes, you make the content. So you're doing all these things and you're doing this on YouTube, which I'm trying to get back on and like trying to just take some notes, but like you're doing all this stuff. So I'm like, all right, what's like your method of like being able to keep that balance management? But like, that's like a whole, like, I know we can do like another, I know that'd be like another episode.
I mean, in a nutshell, it doesn't sound very, really. Essentially, it's just just finding that little bit of free time.
Yeah.
And again, I guess for me, it's a little bit easier because it's the opposite of what I normally do. Okay. Like it's easy to, because it doesn't feel like work.
Okay.
Like if I was like, okay, I'm animating all day. I've been working 10, 12 hours today. And if I'm planning to like draw something for myself, I'm gonna be less motivated about drawing that whatever that is for myself after work. Because it feels like I never left work. Right? Because I was doing art at work.
Yeah.
Now as soon as I finish dinner, I'm gonna do more art work.
Yeah.
So the word work just kind of keeps, it stays in my head and then it just unfortunately, it doesn't motivate me to wanna, do more artwork, personal artwork.
Yeah.
And I've been told so many times, you're supposed to, you gotta keep cultivating your skills. And I'm like, yeah, I get that. There's also such a thing as resting and getting burned out.
Yeah.
Right. That's why I'm doing more physical stuff as I'm getting older. Again, you spend your whole time either sitting or standing. I've been doing the standing desk, but you're in that static position that entire time. And I feel like I need to move my body more. hence I'm more motivated to do martial arts related stuff. That's why I'm posting so many videos of me doing shit.
Yeah.
You know, just free flowing, and then it's like, oh, I can edit some cool music on it.
Yeah.
So but it's like I don't really even plan it. It's just kind of like, okay, that's what I feel like doing right now.
Okay.
But there are other times where I will just like, right, I'm watching Netflix or something, and then I'll just whip out my newsprint and start sketching. It's nothing useful. Nothing I'm gonna clean up later in Photoshop or anything. It's just I just felt like doodling something.
Okay.
So, and then it may become something later on. I don't know. I just don't. Again, I don't. I just don't think about it really.
Yeah,
I just do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just do. Kind of like what you're doing already.
Yeah.
But I imagine you have to schedule things a little bit more, right?
Yeah, a little
or
bit.
better. But I think this
depending on the intention. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's also part of me getting older, right? Because growing up, I was like Dad, right? Everything has to be planned. Your strategies are set. You step out that door, you have to know exactly where everything is and where everyone is and where you're going and all that shit, right? It's almost militant in a way.
Yeah.
And then I'm finding the older I get, I'm doing less and less of planning everything. So I don't really plan much. I just do.
Wow.
And I know it's like when people look at my social media stuff, and it seems like I'm pumping something out every day, every week. Oh man, he's so active. It's like, that's not true. It's, this is stuff I've collected over time. I just happen to release them all within this time period. Because then there'll be periods where you don't see anything, like at all. Right? There was a period where I got so social media silent that my followers were getting concerned. They thought something happened to me. They started messaging me and like, hey bro, how's it going? Just checking in, everything cool, Or they would they would post on my profile page, and I didn't respond because I'm not logged on. I'll see it later. I'm like, oh shit, right? But yeah, I don't. Yeah, I'm not always doing something. I am, but not like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Again, it's like I might have been doing a couple of things over the course of 2 months, and if I was like shooting a video of it, it'll probably, it'll sit there for several weeks, in my hard drive, and then one day I decide I'm gonna edit them. It's like, oh, I have this clip that's like 3 minutes long. I decided to chop them up into 30-second chunks. But then I release like every day, I release like a 30-second clip, and it looks like, oh, every day he's doing this little thing.
Yeah, right.
And in fact, I shot that in like, 10 minutes in one day.
Right.
And I just happen to edit it now and release it, like every other day or every day in the next week or so,
Yeah.
So, there's a lot of stuff that I do for myself that's, they're not scheduled really. I don't go out of my way to plan on, again, it's just, we're artists, so we don't always, even though I try to be like logical, we don't always operate in a logical manner. It's still kind of erratic.
Yeah. Well, I think it's controlled chaos.
Yeah, basically, and then it's like, you really should only do it if you want to do it, not because you have to, right? Again, if you have to do something, it feels so much like a chore,
right?
Again, I've been trying to create an online training library for my martial arts stuff for the past 3 years,
Mm.
If you ask me where I'm at now, I'll be like, I got a bunch of footage.
Yeah.
But a lot of them are like not useful because some of them, when I shot them, I wasn't really like into it.
Yeah.
And you'll hear it when I'm talking in my presentation. It's like it sounds off. It sounds, I sound uninspired. So I'm not going to release that shit.
Yeah.
How are you going to motivate that student to want to learn from you, right? So I have to reshoot that stuff.
Yeah.
So but I did it because I felt like I had to do it. Unfortunately, when it came time to edit it, that's when I'm not. Man, I can't use this footage. It fucking sucks. And of course, you got that friend who goes, "Well, you can just do a voiceover, right? I mean, just mute the original audio and just voiceover." I'm like, yeah, you say it like that. It sounds easy, but that's not how it works. I mean, you can't just dub yourself with better audio. Meanwhile, you're watching the video. You look like a bad kung fu movie. Your mouth is moving, and then you hear completely different dialogue, or the dialogue is being delivered very differently, So no,
that's funny.
You can't just do something.
Yeah.
Just because you think that's how it's supposed to be done. No, that's not how it works. That's not how art works. Right? Again, this is why I have a problem with authority often, with especially taking direction from non-creative people. They're telling me how to do the creative stuff, and I'm like, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Like, why are you telling me how to do my job, right? But I get it. They pay the money. So, but at the same time, it's like, dude, oh, can't you just do this? I love it when she's like, can't you just press this key and it'll become like, yeah, let me do that. That's not how it works. There was an ongoing inside joke back in the earlier days where we say where's that make more better button, because all these producer types, they come in, they all have this attitude that all you have to do is press a button or press a key and it fixes everything, regardless what that thing is, right? So we started joking around like, because there'll be like a technical artist, right, the guy who writes the scripts and everything, and we'd be like, it's all a joke, but we'd be like, yo man, when you gonna finish that make more better button? I kind of need it like right now, But is it a control shift and whatever?
What's the shortcuts?
Great. I need you to make me a shortcut to make this thing look amazing. Just of course, never happened, right? But that's how these people think. They have a creative control over what you do, but
they're not the
half the time they don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah.
I literally I was literally trolling this one producer at one job because he's one of these people that he just loves to hear himself talk. Like he's so amazing, and he likes making people think that he knows what he's talking about. And I remember he was making me do all these changes to this animation I did, and I didn't want to fucking do it, because it's bullshit. It was just extra time for me. So basically what I did was I didn't do anything, right? And the next meeting, I basically just verbally described the stuff he was saying that I should do to fix it. And for some reason that made him believe I actually made the changes that he told me to make, when in fact I didn't do a fucking thing, So we're like in this meeting and there's like executives and him and a couple of other like associate producers. So I'm like, so yeah, Darren, so remember when you said that I should like move the shoulder up this way? So right here. So I go to the frame, I go, yeah, so this were before, right? Before it was like a little higher. So I kind of just dropped it. I didn't, but I'm saying I did.
Yeah.
And he's looking at it, and this proved to me that he didn't know what the fuck he was talking about, because he's like this, and he's like, yeah, cool, man, yeah, thanks for making that change, man. I see, yeah, it's a lot better now, so I'm glad you did that. I literally, and I'm literally just kind of, like he did not notice the difference.
Oh my god! So
at all.
Did
he did not notice the fact that I did not touch this since 2 days ago when he told me to do these outrageous revisions. I didn't do it because I know it's gonna look bad. But because I was saying that I did these things, he just fucking believed me, and he felt proud because he looked good in front of the other executives, And I got that scene approved like that day.
Damn.
It's so dumb, dude. And then he's one of those things that people are trying to get into this industry that chances are you're gonna run into it.
Well, not me. I'm a different type of artist, but
I'm sorry if it like turned you off because I told you all these.
Didn't turn me off. I don't know. Maybe like I just saw signs in different places, and that's what convinced me to like. I don't know, because like when I stopped doing like the animation stuff, that's when I started getting the zombies, and then I started doing zombie art. But I don't know, maybe because you didn't really give me all this insight till years later, So.
Oh, so you just kind of had that suspicion? It might be.
I don't know, maybe, and I just never. I don't know. Yeah, something pushed me to a different direction, with my creative endeavors. I'm just glad that I still kept the again, like going back to fundamentals, like. I'll always like have that with me. But for anyone that's watching or listening that is considering getting into the gaming industry or animation, I mean, they gotta know some shit,
Yeah, it's one thing to like, again, right? Like, there's videos out there like the behind the scenes, let's say, of like Pixar, right? Like for a while, like after they release a movie, they do like a behind the scenes, and they always show.
Yeah, they embellish it.
Oh man, yeah, everybody's having such a great time. Oh, this is the best job ever, right? It's the best job. I love being animator, Pixar, or like they don't tell you shit. Like half of these guys and girls like have to go through what they call Pixar Academy, where you have to learn how to animate their way.
Right.
So whatever way you think you're gonna animate, that's gone.
Yeah.
You have to learn the way they animate. You have to learn their tools. Again, not all bad. It's just kind of FYI, right?
Yeah.
You're gonna get paid shit,
right?
Or not paid at all. So work that out. How are you gonna eat and survive while you're working on hopefully one day making that feature film team. And by the way, you don't always make the feature film thing. I have a couple of friends that work there, and they said that after you go through Pixar Academy, they put you in kind of like the short films department. So that's where it's kind of like the proving ground that you're able to apply what you learn from their Pixar Academy. And again, it doesn't pay a whole lot if they pay you at all, right? If you're an intern from a school in that program, then you're definitely not getting paid because you're doing it for grades.
Yeah.
Right? Getting paid in grades. You may never make it into their feature film department or team. And you may, I don't know. It's just kind of right. My friends who actually work there, this is what they're telling me, it's not a guaranteed thing that just because you went through the process that you're actually going to work on Toy Story 5 or whatever.
Yeah.
Right. Or Incredibles 6, whatever it is now. I haven't watched any Pixar movies in a long time. So I don't know what they have now. But you know what I mean? And there's a few who are like anomalies or just got super lucky, like Pete Docter, the animator who worked on Toy Story. So if I remember correctly, he was like one of the associate animators on the first Toy Story, and then he became fucking animation director on the second one.
Oh shit!
So that's a huge leap, right? So either he's very very talented, or he knew who to talk to.
Yeah,
he knew how to work the system. I don't know. I'm not saying he sucks. It's just again, it's just kind of that's a very big jump, right? And I'm really not entirely sure even. Like, I mean, I've seen his old work, and it just seems like okay. I mean, but it's nothing amazing. It's just he's clearly talented, right? He's a good animator, you know. But it's like again, my logic brain is like can't compute how he went from associate animator on one film and on the sequel he's the fucking director of the entire thing, right? So I don't know. I might be having somebody's gonna fact check me. I'm sure. But, it's again, it's not all the happy all that shit that they show you on the behind the scenes. It's not really behind the scenes. It's it's all well choreographed, fake behind the scenes, right? What's his name? John Lasseter. The head guy of Pixar, right? I mean, right? Everybody loved this guy. He's like, he brought Toy Story to life and Pixar or everything, right? Turned out he's a fucking pedophile.
Okay, yeah.
Right? Sexual harassment, all that shit. Oh, they never showed that in behind the scenes, right? Might have been worth seeing where he's like, come into a studio and ropes a random artist. That's how it is here. We're all friends here. It's like, I was so disappointed when I heard that. I'm like, and then in my head, I'm like, it kind of makes sense. Wow. Why wouldn't he be a freak? I mean, look at him. He's wearing a Hawaiian shirt all the time. Yeah. He's a little too happy to be normal. I remember I started like really before all that stuff. I started to like dislike him when Disney was porting over all the Miyazaki films. Like Disney's releasing like Miyazaki films, like My Neighbor Totoro.
Oh wait, this is just happening now?
No, this was a while ago. This is like years ago.
I was not in the loop.
Yeah, but there's for people who don't know or maybe they know, right? There was that period many years ago where they were bringing over. Disney wants to release Miyazaki movies like My Neighbor Totoro, Kiki's Delivery Service, like all the Miyazaki films, right? And going back to Lasseter, I started to dislike him around that time because when you buy these Disney released Miyazaki movie. At the beginning of every fucking movie, it's always John Lasseter talking about this is such a great movie and how much he's a big fan of. Like this is and it's every movie, like and it's like he has to do an intro because it's Disney. Like I remember, like I picked Castle in the Sky. Wanted to watch the Disney
Floating Castle or whatever it's called. Right?
Laputa, right? Castle in the Sky. And I shit you not, after I watched all the other films where he has to do the intro, I pick up this one, and of course he does the intro. I'm like, hi, thank you for choosing, and you picked a really good movie. I'm like, oh my God, shut up. Shut up, Lola, just what I said. And I didn't want to fucking, what's his name? And then, they dub it in English, and it's that guy from Dawson's Creek. That show. So, you gotta, was it a 10-year-old boy who sounds like a 17-year-old, high school kid? I was like, what the fuck? Sounds all weird and shit now. They're like, go back and watch it back in Japanese.
Gotta go back to that.
I don't know. Again, right? I was at one point I was a huge fan too, right? Mainly because of my coworkers. They're all fans, so that just kind of I got sucked into that, and I like John Lasseter too. Later, I'm like, actually, no, I don't like him. I don't like him as much. But I'm more, right? I mean, I don't know about you. I'm more into the anime stuff. Like if you were to ask me which one is better, Ghost in the Shell TV series, or I don't know, name one Disney movie, Mulan, let's say,
right?
And I will say Ghost in the Shell is better to me, because that's what I like. I like Mulan too.
Yeah,
not the live action bullshit, right?
Yeah,
the cartoon.
Yeah, with anime, I mean, I don't know, man, I can go on about that. Anime, I'm not as much into it. I mean, honestly, I feel less of a fan of like stuff like that lately. I've talked about it, like even video games, and like I don't really.
I think after a while, everything becomes like formulaic.
Yeah.
Right. Like going back to Call of Duty, great. I got to work on one, but they've been doing it's the same fucking game from 20 years ago. Just
graphics
better,
are getting better.
better graphics. They add a couple of That's why so many players are always bitching about the game, but they still buy it. See, that's the crazy part. They're bitching about the developers, how we all suck, and we're not. We haven't done anything innovative in a long time. It still has the same bugs and blah, 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 complain. And they still spent the $65, $70 to buy the fucking game. And they played it, and we know they played it because they will talk about areas that's like not accessible until you're much later up in the level, or you've unlocked this particular level because now you have this particular gun and you can now do whatever, right? It's like clearly you're playing it, but like the whole time they're bitching about it.
Right.
Same thing when I worked at Trion. I'm working on Rift, the MMO.
Yeah.
Everybody's bitching about how, this is not like WoW. WoW is better. The character creation and blah, 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 fucking nerd talk. And they're still playing it, and they're still paying the monthly, the monthly subscription.
Right.
Again, in my head, it's like, if you hate it so much, why are you still paying money? Why are you still paying? Why are you playing our game? You hate it so much, But every month it's the same people.
They're bitching about to it.
Yeah, bitching about the shit that they wish we did, but we didn't. And therefore we suck as human beings. I don't know. It becomes really personal really quick.
Wow.
These fucking people, they're all assholes, all of them. And I'm like, what the hell, man? It's like some angry virgins out there, dude. It's like, I guess that's another part of the reason why I'm kind of like not. The reason why the way I am, after you talk to me and you're like, whoa, I didn't know that. These are one of the reasons,
Yeah. Damn.
Well, I mean, we're getting shit for Call of Duty, and we didn't even work on the actual like gameplay stuff. We just did cinematic stuff.
Right.
But we're getting shit for.
Yeah, because they don't realize.
They don't know. Yeah. They just know, this studio working on this, they fucking blow. I'm like, Christ, Anyway,
Damn. Well, this was a long one.
The game industry is a wonderful place.
What do you think I should do? Because this is going on YouTube. Should I split this in half, or do you think I should keep it all in one?
I guess you can do like parts.
I hate doing that, but I might have to.
Yeah, like blah blah part one.
I know, but I just because I like to keep things together. But I might have to split this into two parts.
What you can do is you can do like you can have I mean, this is what I do sometimes. I have like a full version, and then I have like, I don't know, like links or
like time
screen that says if you just want to watch part 1, click here to watch just part 1 or whatever, and then people can watch it in chapters, so to speak.
That's okay. I'll have to figure that out.
Yeah. So I guess you just have to find a good stopping point.
Yeah.
In this entire rant session, cut it there, and then have like at the tail end, like I don't know, see part 2 or something, or see part 3.
God, I don't fucking know. Well, where can people find you?
Right here. You find me right here now.
If they want to follow you on social media, check out your work, check out your martial arts.
Okay. Well, if they want to follow me or see what I'm doing, so I have the website. It's pretty straightforward, right? FerdTerado.com. That's my animation website, and pretty much anything related to the game industry, art. Obviously, my portfolio and reel is up there. If you're curious about that stuff, that's where you see all of that. Otherwise, for other things like martial arts, just go on Facebook and type my name, and you'll find me. I'm really not hard to find. I tell people, it's like you never have to worry about me committing crime, because I guarantee you some people will find me within 5 seconds.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah. If people want to find you on Instagram, they can check you out at Ferd Terado. So FERDTERADO. Or you can check out at F3RD_SMF.
Oh, God.
Or see, I already have this all written down, Kuya. I got you. Or you can check him out at Saber Tactics. That's SABERTACTX. It's got more. That's more of your lightsaber content. He has a YouTube channel as well. First Spear. That's 1ST Spear altogether. But I mean, you find them on any of those platforms, and you're guaranteed to find everything else.
And they're all interconnected. So if you go to one, you'll see the info for the other stuff. But it's mainly, I think the only thing that's separate is the animation stuff that's like separate from the rest. So
right. Well, definitely check that out too. I mean, again, it's why I have you here to talk about art. Because you got me into it.
I hope it's not too much of a downer for some people. I guess.
Oh, don't worry. Trust me.
This is real. This is real life.
Because no. I think that's the thing about people that don't realize with a lot of artists is like the not so colorful, pretty stuff. So I think that's why I do this. I like to show like under the surface, behind the scenes and all that.
No, yeah, that's good.
Because it's all still inspiring, right? Regardless of the outcome is still on a positive note. You're still able to do the things that you like to do,
Yeah. And again, as time goes, your interests are going to shift.
Exactly.
But some stay the course, others don't. Me, I'm still kind of on the course, but I'm starting to kind of veer off it a little bit.
Yeah.
And that's okay, right? I know with new students and their teachers or whatever, when they're giving you advice, they make it sound like it's a bad thing if you change your focus or change your vocation completely. So I don't know. You're not really dedicated to your craft, are you? Right? Like you start saying things that kind of, I don't know if they intend to purposely make you feel bad, but it's like these people don't understand that sometimes change are necessary.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be all zen and shit. You know, like it's the whole like journey, not the destination.
Right, exactly.
So within that journey, you're gonna take a lot of detours and side trips because it shouldn't have to be only like straight, always on the correct course. Only you can determine your correct course.
Right.
Can't say. I dislike when people say this is the right direction to go. Like they're telling you what the right direction is to go. To a certain extent, yeah, I get it. But like, you don't have to.
Right.
Right? Again, it's like, we were talking about you were going to art school and liking music. Like, I would if it happened like you were going to art institute for I don't know how many years, 3 years.
I went for 4. It was supposed to be 3, but I stayed an extra year.
Like I wouldn't have been honestly, I wouldn't have been surprised if you went and graduated after 4 years art institute, and I find out you're like playing guitar for some band. Yeah. Like that would not surprise me at all. Right. Of course, everybody's like, I don't get it. You went to art school and now you formed a band, yeah. Or you're in a band. In my head, I'm like, well, that's where he wanted to go. That's what he wanted to do. So shut up. Let him do what the fuck he wants.
Damn,
you don't know. Maybe he'll use his visual art skills and fucking design their album cover. I don't know, or their posters or whatever.
That's true.
But the main thing he's doing is he likes music. That's his passion. Maybe he didn't realize that's what he wanted to do. Again, you're gonna do things that you didn't realize this is actually what you wanted to do.
Right. Exactly.
Right. I didn't know I was gonna work in freaking video games.
Yeah.
Do you remember way back with the James and Jesse? Remember my friends?
Yeah.
James and Jesse Thompsons.
Yeah. Of course, I still connected to Jesse
and Brian. Remember? I don't know if you remember back in high school, like those guys wanted to get into game development. I don't know if you remember.
Seriously?
Yeah, but I was the artist, right? I was the artist in the circle of friends. So I'm the one they're asking me to draw all kinds of designs of characters and shit. And they would bother me Saturday morning, like super fucking early. They'd be knocking on my window because they want to work on game designs. Yeah. And I'm like, this is fucking bullshit. I'm not interested in making games, right? Plus, it's 8 a.m. in the morning, man. I'm gonna wake up when Saturday morning cartoon starts and eat my cereal because then I have to go outside and mow the lawn afterward, and hopefully we'll get to play Nintendo later. Right? Like, that's how my brain was. It's like I had responsibilities, and these motherfuckers want me to design video games with them, and they don't know what they're doing. We don't know what we're doing, but yet here I am, decades later. Working in video games.
Right. Yeah, it's funny how that works.
That's ironic.
Yeah. Damn.
So yeah, you never know. Yeah. Anyway, I'm rambling again.
Well, hey.
That's what I do. I ramble. Well, if you don't keep me on the path, I'll be again.
I know what the problem is because Nicole pointed this out. One of the last times me and her were doing a podcast, she pointed out how long-winded I am. And I started noticing that, but I mean, I guess it's genetics.
It's just because we're just talking.
Yeah, I know.
We're just riffing. I mean, I do that in martial arts too. When I teach, like if I start to have fun, I start cracking jokes. I start being a clown, and that's like frowned upon by some people. And I'm just like, shut up, leave me alone. Like my students like me, they're learning. I'm making training fun because I will torture them at some point. This same thing. And you have a tendency to kind of just go off the rails, like
Well, that's
when I went to do this
the podcast.
Yeah. Well, that's also right. That's being an artist, right? Like, we're all kind of like that. I mean that FMA seminar I went to, right? Like each instructor had 30 minutes to present their art and teach a little bit.
Right.
And I kid you not, man. When I did my part, I could have sworn it felt like I only had 5 minutes.
Oh my God.
But I watched my video. I in fact did a full 30 minutes. But like I started like having fun. I was instructing. I gave a little bit of a spiel about our art and my teacher and my system, and then I showed a couple of drills, and then immediately after that, I started kind of just like, vibing with people, and I was joking, and then I completely lost track of time.
Yeah.
So I showed like one drill, and I was about to introduce another drill, and then the host was like, "Okay, thank you very much, Mr." I'm like, "What? Oh, I'm done. That's it." I just started.
Shit. Yeah, I think if the podcast grows, it gets to a certain level where I can get a producer to be part of the project. That'll probably be good, because a lot of podcasters have like a producer that sort of keep them in line. I think once I can,
and then you just kind of wave them. Yeah, I know.
Oh yeah, right. That would happen. But just to have an extra, like a third party to be like, we're maxing out. Yeah, I need that. I need some. Like Nicole's good for that, but she wants no part of this. So. But yeah, Kuya, this was awesome.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it was inevitable. It was inevitable. Plus, like it's a great time to really catch up. But yeah, I definitely will have you back on again to
let me know if
scare off the aspiring artists. No.
Yeah, or we're just bullshit. If you don't have if you're like waiting on a next guest or trying to line up the next guest, but you need to shoot an episode, just give me a holler.
That happens.
We'll bullshit for another 4 hours.
Yeah, that happens. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have some more regulars on the show, because it's what we like to do. So, yeah. So for the listeners out there, for those who are maybe watching, thanks for hanging out with us for this long. And yeah, we will catch you guys later.